Happy Sunday. Oh my goodness. We're about to go on tour. I'm so excited. We literally leave tomorrow for our 10th tour. And I hope I'm seeing you there. Before we get into today's topic, which is about the press down front and a little discussion on mild osteoporosis, I want to tell you of a few updates that are going on at OPC. One, we have a new app and a new way of experiencing classes inside the community, which is super fun, which means like when you take class, you can actually comment in the class how it went, what your aha moments are, all that kind of stuff. And it's all in one spot in the community, which is really great. It makes it really fun for you to feel the community that OPC has always had since day one. And also easier to take your class. So make sure you go to onlinepilatesclass.com/YouTube if you're not a member yet to check that out. The other thing is, like I said, we're going on tour, opc.me/tour. We have 14 cities on this tour. Several are sold out, but there is still space in Knoxville and Greensboro if you want to join us for a workout and a workshop. And then all the other cities that are left have workshops only. So that'd be Nashville, Augusta, Huntsville, one spot left in Birmingham, and then Frisco, Texas, which is outside of Dallas, El Paso, and Las Vegas. That's it. That's all the spots that are left. So I would love to see you in person. We do have people flying into different places and making a whole thing of it, which I love seeing people travel to meet their friends and then come do some Pilates with us. So opc.me/tour. Our tour is powered by Balanced Body, who makes our Contrology equipment. So we'll be bringing some of the Contrology equipment for you to try. Last update before I get into this talking about press on front and osteoporosis is I am launching a teacher training for Pilates instructors. It's a comprehensive training only. It's for people who are wanting to teach a system that Joe Pilates gave us and have a nice, wonderful career doing so. We'll have teachers all over the world hosting this training that I've created. And if you are wanting to go through Pilates teacher training, something that I have done, you can go to xxll.co/UWS. xxll.co/UWS. It represents Uplift Waitlist Student. And I hope that you get on our waitlist. I'm updating every single month. This fall, I'll have locations for our first cities that will have the training. So I'm really stoked about this program. It is different than anything that's out there, and it's really designed to help students teach the full Pilates system and the clients in front of them. All right, now let's get into press down front. So the comment that was left was that they've seen me done this exercise both in flexion and not flexion, which is better for mild osteoporosis. So I have to be honest, I'm not really sure when I taught it without flexion. And so if you were watching, you're welcome to tag me. It is a flexion exercise. There's no other way to do it unless somebody were to just have like a tall back because they have a fusion of some kind. The exercise is done in flexion. So it is done on a middle spring, sometimes two bottoms. You stand fairly close. Your arms go up, you go down, and you push into the pedal. And then you try to keep equal round, so it's not all in your upper back, but the whole body. You pump 3 times. The 2 bottoms would be a heavier spring, which will require more connection. And then you lift it up, and then you come all the way up, and you do 3 sets of that. Pretty hard to do that in a flat back. Again, unless you have a fusion, you also probably need a little bit more space. So because the exercise is designed to help support your roll up on the mat, the roll up is a flexion exercise. It can't be done. That being said, if you're not able to do flexion and you want to do an exercise that has similar support, but without flexion, you can do the swan on top of the chair. It is a tall back exercise. It has the same pumps that help connect your arms to your back, help you find your center, but then the shape of the exercise is going to go from tall to extension, which is typically more accessible when you have osteoporosis. That all said, osteoporosis is a broad term. So if I'm told that someone has osteoporosis, I actually do need to know where it is. Is it in their back? Is it in their hips? In fact, a ton of us, many of us probably have some sort of mild osteoporosis that has not been diagnosed yet. And so there's a lot of new research out about what is possible with that and what's not. And it's important that instead of going off of like what a general, once you have osteoporosis, none of these exercises are available. You really should be talking to your doctor who studies what is new in the science and what is available. Because I have many teachers that I've trained who work with osteoporotic clients with osteoporosis. And they've done the thing where I'm not doing any flexion, I'm not doing any overhead exercises, no weight bearing here. And their doctors have actually said, why aren't you doing those things with this client? Because this client can do those things. And so I will say to the teachers who are watching this, very, very important that you, if you have someone with your client, that you're actually asking them what their doctor said they can and cannot do. And how recent was that information? How often are they getting checked out? Is there even a way that you can even talk with someone at the office to find out what movements are available and are not available? So, because especially since this is flexion without pressure on the spine, we really can often do this safely. Now, if I was doing flexion on a floor mat, lying on the back, that might not be amazing if the osteoporosis was more severe and in the back. But if it's in the hips, it's a whole different story, right? So I share this with you because while I'm not an expert, I have mostly anecdotal information on this topic because I spend most of my time working with teachers and what they're going with their clients. There is some really cool new information. And so having that diagnosis is not a sentence of no flexion or extension for you. How would you do Pilates? No, it is. There's so many more things to think about. Here is the deal. Even if you avoided flexion in a fitness arena, you're still doing it in life. You're still sitting on a toilet, that's flexing the spine. You're still sitting in your car, plane seats, all of those things often put the spine in flexion. So I need, for those of you who are worried about this, to understand that we have to really understand what the strongest version of flexion is for you and teach that so you can move safely through this world, right? So that you can do life better. That's what Pilates is here to help you do, balance your imbalances. What is really cool is that there is a lot of people who are doing classical Pilates with the heavier springs and find out that their scans are improving, or at least it's the osteoporosis is not getting worse, which is great information. Between what they're doing in Pilates and the medication that they're working with their doctors, things are improving. So I just share that with you because I don't want you to ever live in fear. I think it's really easy, especially in the States, to get to be afraid of getting hurt. We really need to be obsessed with getting strong and making sure that we do all the things we can. Younger is always better, but it's never just for a period of time, it's for life. So that you can, as you get older, be stronger. That's just what I would say. So please, I think it's really easy for people to throw things out there so that you're scared. And then you listen to them because you're scared and you want an answer, as opposed to what is your doctor saying? What is the new science saying? And then what's going to help make sure that you're strong as you continue to age, because that's what's happening on this planet, doing the things you want.
Wouldn't it also be helpful to have them work within their own range of motion instead of limiting the flexion exercises altogether?
Wouldn't it be helpful to have them work in their range of motion instead of eliminating the flexion exercise altogether? Of course, always. By the way, this is everything, right? I can have, so Brad does Pilates with me, and Brad has a pretty straight back. Okay, we've seen x-rays of it. It's pretty straight. It's called a military spine. And so when we don't eliminate flexion exercises, but we're not doing all flexion exercises because his body isn't there yet. So it doesn't even that is appropriate for everybody. When you are doing Pilates, and this is really important, if you are going to a studio or you're doing group classes, you have to advocate for yourself in a way that means taking a private session. How should I be doing this exercise? I'm not able to flex that much, but I can do this much flexion, right? So if the teacher isn't able to help you with what your modifications are so you can be independent in the class, because obviously not all about you, then you might not be in an environment where people are fully trained in a comprehensive way where they can go, hey, yeah, you're able to do your own modifications. There you go. Or take a private session. I'll give them to you, right? Not every teacher is trained in those things, but you should always be only working in the range of motion that you can do in any spine shape, joint mobility, every single exercise. It's so appropriate to do that. And I encourage you to know that that's a good thing to do, right? It can be frustrating, especially if you're an athletic person who is struggling with getting an exercise. But even for me, I'm when I do upstretch combo, the goal is to close the spring. My range of motion with my strength cannot do that. So I work in the appropriate range. So I love that. And it is for everybody, whether you have osteoporosis or no actual injuries that are diagnosed or conditions that have been diagnosed. Always work within your range. And you should feel not only are you in a place where they encourage that, but they can support you in some way. Anything else, Brad? Okay, well, you guys are amazing. I'm going to finish the last day of the last weekend of our Elevate program, which is my mentorship program for Pilates instructors, which we are booking 2028, and I think it's almost full, right, Brad? I think, what is there, like 5 spots left?
Yes.
Less. There's less, he said. Okay, well, if you're wanting into my mentorship program, you can check it out at lesleylogan.co/elevate. If you're a partially trained teacher, meaning you've done like only mat or reformer, or your comprehensive program was not in classical and you've been wanting to study that and you do not want to wait until 2028 or 2029, please get on our Uplift student waitlist at xxll.co/UWS. Otherwise, I'll see you on tour. Oh, final reminder. Sorry, one more. We'll not be doing our lives the next 2 Sundays while on tour. We'll be back on August 23rd, I believe, as a Sunday. I'll be home, so I'll be able to do that live. But the other 2, we're kind of in tour mode, different time zones. And if you've been following us, we don't always succeed at those. So we're making our lives easier. I will miss you, but go on your summer holiday. Load up our comments with different questions. We can go live when we come back, and I'll see you next time.